All right, welcome to Behind the Scenes. Today in studio, we have Josh from Youngstown Auto Wrecking. So why don't you give me an idea, the different companies here, Youngstown Auto Wrecking versus You Pull It.
So Youngstown Auto Wrecking is a full-service yard. We have over 5,000 vehicles on the property. We have a nationwide locator where anybody needs a part. If we don't have it on site, we can get it. We're members of plenty of different salvage yard companies that will send us parts. We can send parts to them, and we trade off and on every day. So we have semi-trucks that come every morning, take parts from us, deliver parts, and then every evening as well. So we can get parts almost next day from anywhere in the United States.
So I'm assuming you're pretty mechanically inclined. Do you do any restores? You do any fixing? Like, what's your specialty?
I'll be honest with you. My specialty has been, I guess, sales and just, you know, I like people and I like dealing with people. So the mechanical part, no, but we definitely have specialists for that.
All right, but you've had interest in cars, I'm assuming, that got you directed in this industry?
Well, yeah. You know, I had a buddy, or I should say a roommate in college whose cousin was the manager at Youngstown Auto Wrecking. So our freshman year of college, we spent a lot of time over there, and that's kind of how I got interested. One day they asked me if I would be a delivery driver, and it was kind of like ever since, you know, as a backup for somebody who was on vacation. So ever since then, I just haven't left. That was 14 years ago.
Wow, you've been there for 14 years.
14 years. Started from the bottom, breaking down tires and actually, you know, delivering the parts up until now.
How many people work there?
You know what? We have almost, between the three companies, we have almost 100 employees.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Dang. And so you got a lot of vehicles on the lot. You said 5,000?
Yeah, we have 5,000 vehicles on the lot, and we're constantly every day buying fresh inventory. Between the two businesses last month, we bought 900 cars.
Man, that's awesome.
Between Auto Wrecking and You Pull It, yeah.
All right, so let's watch our video here.
All right, so there's our office. It says right there, that sign, we do offer aftermarket parts. So what's nice about that is we have a company that will deliver us aftermarket parts typically the next day. So whenever you need your new bumper covers, your hoods, maybe we don't have them used or you're not interested in used, we can get the brand new stuff. Just like what people order from like Rock Auto and Amazon and stuff, we can get that stuff as well. There's our office. We got experienced sales team members up there. Right there, we're shipping out motors and trannies, rear ends. That's all stuff that's leaving on freight in the semi-truck. And like I said, that comes and goes every morning and every evening.
And these are shops that are looking to source some things that are hard to find?
Shops will call us. You know, people just regular retail customers, other salvage yards. So our inventory is listed on a program that we're on with all the top tier salvage yards throughout the United States, and we all trade off parts, and you know they all call us whenever they get a customer that needs something. So this is our pad where we get fresh inventory. Whenever the tow trucks bring them in, we'll bring them to the back there. There's one of our machines we use to set cars. There's our truck garage where the delivery trucks pull in and out and get loaded up. Those right there is those are just some money cores that, you know, whenever we sell a transmission or a motor, you got to give us your old ones. So those we're just getting prepared to get shipped out so they can get refurbished. Looks like here we're going into our little quality control area. So what we try to do is we try to clean up every part and just inspect it before it leaves to our customer. That was something new that we had implemented the past year just to make sure that our customers are getting the best experience. And then it helps us to notice if there's any issues or flaws in the parts that we can relay to our salesmen to get that information to the customer. So whenever you buy a hood or a door, we clean it up real nice to make sure, you know, it is what it's supposed to be.
If you got a car in an old I don't know, Chevelle, and I need a hood from a Chevelle, like when you bring an inventory of the whole car, do you have to inventory each one of the parts individually?
So what my inventory specialist does is whenever the car comes in, he has a tablet. And on that tablet, it'll start asking him questions. So you'll have the information for that specific vehicle, that 70 Chevelle, and it'll start by asking, is the hood good? And he'll put yes or no. And then whenever he hits yes, it'll ask for notes. Does it have dings? Does it have scratches? Does it have a burn mark or scuffs or rust? And he'll do his best that he can to inventory every single part. It'll go all the way around the car, the motor, tranny, all the suspension, and that's how we inventory and then advertise our parts to the nation.
All right, makes sense.
This is the yard. Something that we also started the past couple of years is putting these. Whenever we disassemble the cars, we put them up on stands now, and then that way that just helps our parts poolers get to the part quicker, easier, staying nice and organized. And this is actually how the whole U-Pull-It yard is. So we have about half of the Youngstown auto wrecking yard. Traditional salvage yards, you go to them, and most of the cars are, in the dirt and on the ground. Well, we like to keep them up in the air, so that keeps our doors and bumpers nice, and it's easy to get to the suspension.
Now, a lot of the cars show up like totaled after.
Most of the cars that we buy here for Youngstown Auto Wrecking are from the salvage auction. So yeah, they're all totaled. Whenever you get in an accident, and your insurance company totals out the car. Well, what they do with it is they send it to an auction. Mostly, it's just salvage yards bidding, and we bid for the car, hopefully to get it, for the parts that we need that we're not showing in inventory, and then we'll bring it home and start inventorying and selling the parts off of it. With all of the inflation and a lot of the manufacturers aren't making these parts anymore, it's really hard for customers, shops, body shops to get to these parts. And I just wanted to let everybody know that, hey, we got everything. If we don't, we can get it, and it's much more affordable than going to the dealership, or some people just have nowhere to go for a lot of these parts. So, with having 5,000 vehicles on our property with fresh inventory daily, as well as being able to use our nationwide locator, we can get everything at a fraction of the cost for new.
So are there any types of cars that are higher demand than others?
It's hard to pick that.
So when you guys go to auction, is there some that if you bid on that car, it's going to find a home here?
You know what? Those cars always cost more, so they're harder to get into because you can't buy a car if you can't make your money back by selling the parts. I guess the best way to put that is we try to bid, 12 and up is going to be a good parts car for the most part. You know what I mean? So anything 12 and down will probably end up at the Youngstown U-Pull-It yard.
Okay.
So, but one thing that we are doing is, instead of say we're done with a car here at Youngstown Auto Wrecking, instead of just crushing it out, we'll send it over to Youngstown U-Pull-It, because there's still going to be a lot of good parts on it. It's just we might not have room for it, or we've sold everything that's worth that is what people want. You know what I mean?
Right.
It seems in this industry, each car has its main parts that it's going to sell, and then after that, it might not sell much. So what we try to do is just to keep the fresh inventory, make room. Is what we're doing now is, after we get the parts that that typically sell at Youngstown Auto Wrecking, now we can send those cars over to U-Pull-It. And what that does is gives Youngstown U-Pull-It really good inventory, newer inventory. The way Youngstown U-Pull-It works is every part has its own price. So every hood is $50, every mirror is $25, every door is $50, every bumper is $42. So it's really hard to put newer expensive cars over there, because you'll never be able to even make your money back, let alone make any profits. But what we do is we'll take good cars that are still good at Youngstown Auto Wrecking, and we'll send them to U-Pull-It. And that's how we can get 2019s and 15s and a lot of newer, more expensive cars over there. So what we're showing right now is all the fresh inventory. Well, I call it fresh because it's fresh for U-Pull-It, but this is all the inventory that we're taking out of auto wrecking and towing over to U-Pull-It. So you're going to see a lot of good cars that you typically would not see at a self-serve yard.
This episode was brought to you by Youngstown Computer, the Valley's technology company. We appreciate the loyalty and all you have shown us over the years, and it's our promise to serve all the technology needs of the Valley. Call 330-259-7278. We have both home and business services available. Everything from repair, installations, and new equipment. You can improve your Wi-Fi and have technology serve you better. Call 330-259-7278. Or you can schedule your appointment right now on youngstowncomputer.com and look for the red Book Now button.
There's a lot of competition out there with the self-serve yards in Akron, Canton, and Cleveland, and something that we can do that they probably can't because they don't have a full service yard is we can get, a lot of newer inventory over there.
Right.
That
so when you buy a car at auction, about how long do you think it lives in the yard before it's brought down to a carcass where everything that's salvageable has been done? So
Well, that would depend on the year, make, and model, but we some of these cars we'll just grab just the motor out of it because we don't have one on the shelf, and then we'll send it to You Pull It. Now at You Pull It, the inventory typically lasts 3 months.
Okay.
So they're constantly rotating.
Oh,
the
man,
way that yard works
that's
is
some activity.
Oh yeah. So the way that, and they have over 1,500 cars on that property. So yeah, this is all the fresh inventory that's getting ready to go over to You Pull It from auto wrecking, and that's just how we keep the newer stuff going. These are all rear ends, pickup trucks, box trucks, really hard stuff to find. We got tons and tons of inventory already out on the ground. So customers call us, we grab them from there and put them on a delivery truck, and we get them out there right away. Here's our truck section, fresh inventory daily in there. And we got lots of your Ford, Chevys, Dodge, GM, everything that you need is going to be in that section.
And I noticed there was commercial vehicles as well, so, police cruisers, about all kind of stuff.
Yeah, we get a little bit of everything. We've actually been doing some good auctions where we're getting some of the police cruisers whenever they get in accidents or whatever the case may be. We've been ending up with a lot of those. And then that's where the cars go whenever we're done with them. If we're not going to send them to You Pull It, maybe they're not worth it. What we'll do is we'll get them over here, and they're getting ready for crush. As you'll notice, those cars aren't flat yet, and then once we get back by the pile, that's where they're flattened.
And now, by that point, is pretty much everything recycled from that beyond?
Yeah. So everything's recycled from the point we get the car. So one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to pull the battery, and we're going to drain our fuel, and we actually repurpose that fuel in all of our delivery trucks, box trucks, yard vehicles, stuff like that. So we repurpose the fuel. Right now it's winter months, so we're also repurposing the oil. That's how we heat our buildings, our garages. In the summer, we sell the oil to a refinery that cleans it up, and I'm sure that they repurpose it as well. And then anything that's not repurposable, like the coolants and stuff like that, we actually pay a company called Environmental Specialists. They'll come out and they'll remove our coolant and everything like that. Even the Freon from the vehicles gets repurposed. We pull that with a Freon removal machine, and then we send it off to a company that repurposes it. There's our machine moving the cars, getting them ready to get towed out of there. That car looks like it's getting ready to go to You Pull It as well. Here's our warehouse. We have definitely over 5,000 motors, trannies, just drivetrain pieces on the shelf ready to go. As big as our warehouses are, they're still not big enough for all the drivetrain that we stock. Those are motors that are getting ready to get put on crates and put on the shelf. So all this inventory is listed online, and we sell, we'll say drivetrain's probably our number one seller, the motors and trannies, transfer cases, carriers, assemblies.
Wow, that's a crazy amount of inventory.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we pride ourselves on good drivetrain. These motors and transmissions get shipped all over the United States. Like I said, we got semi-trucks every morning by 9 a.m. and then every evening by 4 o'clock, dropping stuff off that we have ordered for customers, but mostly picking up.
Now, do you do all the reconditioning, or do you let sometimes the customers just take the raw parts and do their own reconditioning?
You know what? If there's any motors or trannies that are really hard to find that we know people wouldn't mind rebuilding, even if it's not a good one, we'll post it, and it'll say in the notes core or for parts. And then if a customer's interested, obviously it's going to be priced a lot lower than a good one. But if customers are interested in that, but typically we just recycle those if they're not any good. Like I said, unless they have a high value, they're just getting recycled.
Yeah, and I like that because I know we purchase a ton of vehicles in this country, and your part of the industry is making sure that these parts get second and third lives going around. That
has always been one of my favorite things. You get a customer, they come in, and let's face it, it's our vehicle. So when our vehicle's down, it's hurting. You know what I mean? It's we can't get to work, can't get around town, can't shop, can't get the kids to school, whatever. We all rely on our vehicles. So customers come in with a lot of frustration a lot of times, or you can just tell they're down and out. So whenever I get to make their day or help them out, get their car back on the road, that's probably the best feeling about the job, is just helping out the customers, which you see a lot of that at Youngstown. You Pull It. I've seen customers come down that, they're pulling their own part. I'm sure everybody would love to just come to Auto Wrecking and we get the part off the shelf and hand it to them. But they go to Youngstown, you pull it because, one, maybe they enjoy it, but a lot of times because it's a lot cheaper. You can get an alternator for $25. My uncle just called me last week. He needed an alternator for 11 nitro. AutoZone was $250 or $200. He came down there for $40, and after tax and everything, pulled his own alternator. And he said, "Josh, how do I know if it's a good one?" I said, "Well, Unc, if you look around, you probably find a brand new one." He called me 10 minutes later. "I found the brand new shiniest alternator. It's still got all the stickers on it." So
No way.
he was super excited that he got that same part that he was going to buy at AutoZone for over $200 for $40. Here's transmissions, nothing but transmissions over here on this side of the warehouse, all ready to go, probably almost every make and model. And like I said, if we don't have it, we got the locator that can get it. In these boxes here, what we do is we put all of the small parts, mirrors, headlights, tail lights, speedometers, there's shifters in there, there's wiper motors, just tons of smaller parts we like to put in all these bins, and there's just thousands and thousands. Fuel pumps.
So if you did the parts locator, it would say, go here and this aisle and this bucket is what you're looking for.
Whenever our salesman looks up the part and it says it's on a shelf, it has the location, we send someone right away. It usually takes 10-15 minutes. They get down to the warehouse, get the part, inspect it, make sure it's still good, because a lot can happen. Some of these parts might be sitting for a year, and they clean them up real good, make sure presentable for the customer. And here's
now,
all
the
of our
you
wheels.
pull it side, when you have something like that alternator, does it tell you go to this car tagged XYZ?
So you come in, you say, "Hey, I need an alternator for a 2011 Dodge Nitro." It's going to say, "All right, here's all of our vehicles that'll work, and they're in these rows." And the way that the You Pull It yard's laid out, it's like a checkerboard. Everybody's favorite thing, and we're definitely probably the only place in Ohio like this, but I would say not too many places in the whole nation. We're all concrete. So it's like walking on Walmart's parking lot. It's just all paved. It's perfect.
Hey, this is Kellen with Youngstown Studio. Entrepreneurs, artists, and entertainers of all types drop by our place often, and we sometimes get the question, what all does Youngstown Studio do? Well, I'm here to show you. Youngstown Studio is a full-service podcasting and interview studio. We feature creatives from around the Mahoning Valley, rent our space to podcasters, distribute shows to popular podcasting channels, and we help tell the stories of hardworking people in our community. Youngstown Studio produces the Business Spotlight television show Behind the Scenes with Joe Danyi, every Saturday at 11 a.m. on WBCB The Valley CW. We highlight a different Mahoning Valley business. We featured everything from manufacturing plants and 3D printing facilities to local entertainment venues, breweries, recording studios, and more. Youngstown Studio is also home to Youngstown Studio Marketing. We create and design social media graphics, videos, reels, and manage and promote the online presence of Mahoning Valley businesses of all types. We rebrand local businesses and design their logos, signage, merchandise, and more. We design event posters, concert flyers, print advertisements, newsletters, and anything and everything in between when it comes to graphic design. We record live performances here in our studio for online streaming or to help promote your music or upcoming concerts. We write, record, and produce radio and podcast advertisements. Need a voiceover, or do you want to record an audiobook? We can do that. We also handle the marketing and promotions of our parent company, Youngstown Computer, the Valley's IT company. If your business needs marketing help, if you want to record a podcast, or if you have a business idea you want to get off the ground, call Youngstown Studio today.
Now, those are pulled. Those look brand new.
So those were brand new. What we did there is we purchased some overstock from the manufacturer.
Okay.
So that's actually not aftermarket. That was factory.
Okay.
Direct from Ford. Those there, that's our wheel shelf. There's a bunch of boxes full of headlights and tail lights, brand new. So maybe a customer's not in the mood for a used one, or maybe our used one's a little bit cloudy, might need buffed or whatnot. But a lot of times people like the brand new because it's so affordable. All of our parts come with a standard 30-day warranty, so if there's any issues within the 30 days, we'll be happy to replace it or give you your money back. There's a shelf with some body parts already all ready to go, hoods, doors. There's probably a few fenders in there. This here, I took them over to our other yard. It's just a smaller one, but what this is, all big trucks, dump trucks, semi-trucks, school buses, just heavy-duty vehicles. I thought we would throw that in there too because we do acquire them from here to there, and those parts are really hard to find. And I had one guy, he bought a nice box off one of our box trucks. He put siding on it, made it match his house. You would never know it was a box truck or a box off of a box truck. But this is keeping U-Haul on the road. A lot of commercial vehicles, keeping them on the road. And what's funny is we actually go down to this yard for a lot of our vehicles that we, our tow trucks, our semi-trucks that we're hauling scrap with, hauling all the cars with whenever they need parts. Typically, we have them down here. But yeah, all this stuff's for sale as well. We got nice stainless steel dump beds and plenty of boxes. And
now, do you guys get any like electric vehicle motors, any EVs yet?
We do. They're really hard to get at the auction though because of the prices of them are so high. So you just, you get what you can, but you're also in a bidding war against other companies and people that want it. So you try your hardest. Here's Youngstown, you pull it. This is our brand new office. We just got it built this year. We were working out of that trailer whenever we first opened up in 2017. It's nice. You walk in, you check in on the right side. There's Mike helping the customer out, telling them where to go. There's a fire truck runs and drives we purchased from the fire department. They wanted to maybe upgrade. So here's how the yard's laid out. Every car's up in the air, nice and organized. So the way it works is that first row right there, it's fresh. So we just set that, and you notice that the row behind it's empty. So we'll set the whole first row, and then the row behind it gets wiped out clean. And we'll pull the car, we'll sweep up underneath it, all around it. Everything goes into the next car. Now the machine comes back, he pulls that car. Everything gets swept up from the car right there, gets put into the next car. So essentially the yard cleans itself. And whenever I said a row, every 30 to 90 days that row's getting pulled. So like our GM section and our foreign section, those only last about 30 days. And then our Ford section and our Mopar section can last up to 3 months. It just depends on how often we're getting the cars. And since we keep them in sections, Ford and Dodge in this area, this is GM country, I call it, it just doesn't seem like we get as much Ford and Dodge in, so they don't rotate as fast. You notice how clean and clean the concrete is. It makes it really nice for the customers whenever they're pulling parts. They say they've never been to a yard that clean. So anytime you need a part, we could tell you exactly what row it is. And then there's about 25 cars in a row. So you just walk down that row until you find your car.
So do you use a tow motor to move things around once the wheels are gone and maybe the rotors are gone? Does it get harder to kind of push things around?
Well, what we do is we take all of our wheels and tires off because we have a tire barn. I like to say we're like it's like a big kept secret almost because it doesn't seem like everybody knows yet, but we're selling tires for $10.99. That's one of our biggest sellers. So we got all the used tire shops. They come down with box trucks and they buy tires off us for $10.99, and then they're out there selling them to their customers. So we sell tires for $10.99 and we mountain balance for $15.
What are your seasons like? So I'm assuming summer you're super busy, but when it gets colder, do you have a way? Does it trail off? Does it get less busy during the winter hours?
How I like to explain that is in the summertime, you might need a part. You can call a couple buddies. Heck yeah, buddy, I'll come down there with you. I'll help you pull parts. I'll watch. I'll look around. Everybody's in amaze. Well, in the wintertime, whenever you need a part, hey man, you're on your own. It's a little bit too cold. But, we're still selling as much, I would say. It's just maybe the amount of people that come through is less because, like I said, you're almost on your own whenever it's cold. So in the summertime, people like to come down. We got customers that come down just to walk through, just because they like to check out the cars, fresh inventory, see what they could find. A lot of people come down there and buy parts, and they might buy them, pull them because it's so cheap, and then they're reselling them on eBay.
So now back to the electric vehicle deal. Have you had ones end up there? Are they easy to tear down on your own? Are they pretty, kind of they built for easy disassembly?
What I could say about the electric vehicles is the hardest part about them is the battery. We actually had somebody come in, train us, give us like a certification for recycling and removing those batteries, because it is dangerous to mess with those batteries without the knowledge. So I wouldn't recommend anybody change a battery or pull one without somebody certified. So that is something that we've dealt with and we've been prepared for a couple years now. But other than that, I mean, it seems like the cars all disassemble the same.
Okay. Motors.
You pull it. What we do is, so the second the car comes in, we put it up on the rack. We get the wheels, tires, batteries off. Then it goes on an environmental rack. And what this rack does is it drains every fluid, doesn't miss a drop on the ground, and it all gets caught in the machine. And then it gets put out in the yard. So we don't pull any parts. You pull it. It's 100% self-serve. Funny story is a couple weeks ago, we had a young lady down there. She said, I've never pulled an alternator or any car part myself, but I'm determined to get my car back on the road. She had a YouTube video, how to pull an alternator. That video told her what tools she needed, how to do it, what steps to take. And in less than an hour, she had pulled an alternator, and I'm assuming she's putting it on her car herself too. So that was pretty cool to see, people stepping outside of their comfort zone to repair their car. And I'm glad that we were able to help.
Awesome. Why don't you give everybody your information, how to get a hold of you, what your hours are?
Youngstown You Pull It is open 7 days a week from 9 to 5. We take our last customer at 4:30. You can give us a call at 330-272-9486. And our address is 1300 Albert Street. One thing I like to add about them is we have big sales every holiday very often. So follow us on Facebook. That's Youngstown You Pull It. If you didn't make it to the sale yesterday, it was an all-you-can-carry for $69.99. And we set up cones 50 feet apart, and customers came up as much as they can carry. If they can go 50 feet apart without dropping or dragging them, they got all those parts for $69.99. We had guys pulling rear ends, carrying motors, carrying transmissions, getting them for super, super cheap. And then Youngstown Auto Wrecking is our full-service yard. We're located at 1411 Wilson Avenue. We're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We have a delivery truck in every city nearby: Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Akron, Canton, as well as Youngstown and Erie. So if any shops out there need any parts, feel free to give us a call, 330-743-1492. We have commercial salespeople on standby to help you guys out.
All right, Josh, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.